This is Jerry Gonzalez and welcome to my YouTube channel, Access Tutorial. I've been thinking how this tutorial will proceed and I decided that it will be more fruitful if we will be working on a database project in parallel with the tutorial. In other words, you will have a usable database as a result of listening and following the steps in the series of videos that will be shown in this channel. The project that we will be doing is monthly budget database. And here are the initial designs of the major forms. We will have budget form. The data that will be displayed in the list box will be dependent on the two search criteria, month and year. If we specify March 2020, then the budget for March 2020 will be displayed. If we specify, for example, January 2020, then the budget for that month will be displayed provided it is available. To create a budget for a month, for example April 2020, then just type in April, then 2020 and click Add. Another form will appear which is not shown in this presentation. From that form you could type in the budget. If the items in your budget is less than 5 items, then this process is tolerable. But if you have more budget items, then this will be a tedious task. As much as possible, we want to give convenience to the user of our database. Normally, our budget for each month is practically the same. Thus, there should be a budget template that we could copy each month. Here is the form for the template. If you want to use this template, you could simply click Apply the template or the button under budget form Apply budget template. Then the template will be copied as budget for the month. The budget form also allows you to edit the items you copied from the template. Just highlight the item that you want to edit, then click View Edit menu. Then another form will appear where you can make adjustment with the budget you selected. To measure whether we are on or over budget, we need to have record of our actual expenses. Here is the form for the expenses. You could also access the monthly budget status by simply clicking the button Open Monthly Budget Report. It will tell you the total amount of your actual expenses as well as the total amount still at your disposal. This report will be automatically updated every time you make changes in budget and expenses forms. Before we create table in MS Access, there are some terms that we need to learn. We have sample table here to illustrate couple of common terms in database development. As you can see, we have storage space here for specific data. Space for ID, space for surname, space for given name, for email address, and for phone numbers. These spaces are called fields. In this table, we have ID field, we have surname field, given name field, email address field, and phone number field. As you would expect, data under surname field should only contain surnames and no other data should be entered here. Same with other fields. While the set of data in a row is called record. This is number 1 record, second record, third record, fourth, and fifth record. To explain other important terms in MS Access, let's consider this sample expense table. You will notice that it includes the fields for seller, for team, and address of the seller. What's the problem about this? You will notice that several items were from the same seller. These are the records number 1, 3, and 4. They are from seller number 1. Thus, we need to retype the seller names, their TIN numbers, and their address. There is a possibility, especially if we have large number of records, that we could misspell their names. and addresses and make a mistake with their T numbers. Needless to say that this is troublesome to do. This is the case that we want to avoid in designing tables. As a solution, we need to separate the table for the expense and table for the seller. Each of the tables should have a record identifier. This ID is record identifier for expense table. This ID is for record identifier for seller table. The record identifier field is called primary key. Data type of the primary key does not need to be numbers. It could be letters or alphanumeric, but it should be unique. To link the two separate tables, we need to add foreign key to expense table. Foreign key is the column of a table that points to the primary key of another table. This helps the table to pull information from the other table. We will demonstrate how to link tables later in this video. Let us now create our project, budget database. Go to Start, look for Access. Then double-click Blank Database. From here, we could change the name of the file. Use budget DB. You can change the location of the file that you will create by clicking the folder icon. But I will just accept the default location for now. Click Create. Make sure that the office ribbon here is visible. If not, just press Ctrl F1. There is a table here, but we still need to modify based on our requirements. We have to add some fields, and to do that, we will go to Design View. Click the Design View toolbar. Change the name of the table. What we are trying to create here is budget table. Thus, I prefer to use TBL budget. Then click OK. We are now in Design View. What are the fields that we need to add? We need to have budget category. If you feel that the field name is long, you could also shorten it. For budget category, you may write BudCat. For the description, we could write budget category to remind us that BudCat is actually budget category. What else? We also need amount. Now let's check the data type of each field. For ID, the default assigned type is auto number. This seems to be convenient to use, but I prefer to use number because it is easier to manipulate in VBA. For field size of ID, long integer is okay. For budget category, I am expecting that the data here to be text, therefore short text is okay, but I will limit the field size to 60. Data type for amount is number. For field size, we could use integer or long integer because some of the data here. For field size, we could not choose integer or long integer because some of the data here are expected to have decimal values. Therefore, I will use double. Then the format will be standard. Standard format is with 1000 separators and with 2 digits to the right of decimal. Then click Save. Go to Datasheet View to see the result. You will notice that there is 0 under ID and under amount. To get rid of these zeros, go back to Design View. You will see 0 for default value. Delete the 0. Go to amount and do the same. Then click Save. Go to Datasheet View. No more zeros. We are done with TBL budget. Close this table. Now let's create the table for expenses. Click Create Menu, then click Table. We need to add fields to this table. Let's go to Design View. Change the table name to TBL Expenses, then click OK. What are the fields that we need? We need particulars, then amount field. We also need date field, but I will use Tran date as field name because date is a reserved word in MS Access. We also need BUD ID or budget ID, which is our foreign key for this table. You will notice that there is a small key symbol on the left side of ID. This is indicator of primary key. If you want ID not to be the primary key, just click ID and click primary key. And you will see the symbol is no longer there. If you want to reinstate ID as primary key, just select ID again and click primary key. The data type of ID, I prefer to use number. For field size, long integer is okay. Then the default value should be null. For particulars, the data type should be short text. Then let's limit the field size to 60. For the amount, it should be number. Its field size is double. For transaction date, the data type should be date time. And the format, I prefer to use medium date. For budget ID, the data type should be the same as the primary key of TBL budget. It should be number and the field size should be long integer. I think it's all okay. Click Save and click Datasheet View. You will notice that there is 0 value for the amount and budget ID. To get rid of this, go back to Design View. Go to Amount, delete 0 in default value for the format. For the format, use Standard. Go to Budget ID and delete 0 in default value. Then click Save. Then go to Datasheet View. Now we finished 2 tables for our project, but there is another table that we need to create. Table for budget template. The fields required for budget template are the same as the TBL budget. That we will just copy TBL budget. Click TBL budget. Right click, then choose copy. Then right click again, then choose paste. Change the name of the resulting table to TBL budget template. Choose structure only. Actually, it does not matter if you have chosen structure and data because the copied table, TBL budget, is still empty. Then click OK. All the tables for our project are already created. Now we will do queries. The idea here is to compare the expenses and the budget. To do this, we need to get summary of expenses according to budget ID. And how to do that? Click Create. Then go to Query Design. Then Show Table dialog box will appear. Under Table tab, double-click TBL Expenses. Then click Close. What we need is the summary of amount according to budget ID. Double-click Budget ID or BUD ID and double-click Amount. Then click Totals from the ribbon. The value of total under budget ID is grouped by, and that is okay. While the value of total under amount should be sum. Let's go to datasheet view. You will see that we have fields for BUD ID and sum of amount, but since we do not have data in our tables, there is also no data returned in our query. For now, let's save the query. Click Save and change the name to QRY Expense Sum. Then click OK. Close the query. Then let's go to TBL budget and fill out the table. Now let's open the query. Then go to TBL expense and also fill out this table with several records. Now close these tables and open the query that we created earlier. Double click QRY expense sum. You will see that for BUD ID number 2, that is transportation, the total expense is 1,000. While for budget ID number 5, that is toiletries, the total expense is 50. Now that we have summary of our expenses, we could now compare it to our budget. Go to Create menu. Choose Query Design, then double-click TBL Budget. Go to Query tab and double-click QRY expense sum. Then click Close. As you remember from our earlier discussion, to link tables, we need to link the primary key and the foreign key. Click the primary key of TBL budget and left-click your mouse and drag to the foreign key of QRY expense sum. There will be a line created connecting the primary key and foreign key. From TBL budget, double-click ID, double-click budget category, and double-click amount. For query expense sum, we don't need budget ID because this is the same as ID from TBL budget. Just double-click sum amount. Let's see the result. Click database toolbar. The first three fields here are from TBL budget table. Then the last field, which is the sum of amount, is from QRY expense sum. But you will notice that not all budget categories are shown here. To show all the categories, we need to go back to Design View. Double-click the link between the two tables and a dialog box will appear. There are three options here. The default is only include rows where the joint fields from both tables are equal. This is the reason why there is only 2 rows returned in our query. To show all the budget categories, choose the option Include all records from TBL budget and only those records from QRY expense sum where the joint fields are equal. That is option number 2. Then click OK. Let's see the result. Go back to Datasheet view. You will see that all the budget categories are present, but it is also important to have a field that will show the remaining budget. How to do that? Let's go back to Design View. We will add computed field here and name it REM BUD or remaining budget. Then type colon, then right click and choose build. There will be a dialog box that will appear. Look for the name of the database that we are working with, BudgetDB. Then click the plus sign adjacent to it. Go to table, choose TBL budget, then double click the amount. Type in minus sign. Go to query, choose QRY expense sum, double click sum of amount. clicks or click EXP and delete. Click OK. Go to Datasheet View. You will see that under REMBUD, we only have two values for transportation and for toiletries. In MS Access, if the data in one of the fields that is involved in operation is null, then the resulting value will also be null. Not like in Excel that automatically considers null as 0. How we will tell MS Access that a null value within the operation should be considered as 0? Go back to Design View. Choose REMBUD. Right-click and select Build. We will use the NZ function of MS Access. At the start of sum of amount, write NZ. Then open parentheses. Then at the end type in comma followed by 0, then close parentheses. What does it do? It tells MS Access that if the value of sum of amount is null, then consider it 0. If it is not null, then the true value will prevail. Then click OK. Go to Datasheet View. There you go. You already have remaining budget values for all the categories. We want the format of sum of amount and remaining budget to be standard format. To do that, go back again to Design View. Go to Sum of Amount. The Properties panel or the Properties pane should be visible on the right side of your screen. If not, right-click Sum of Amount and choose Properties. Go to Format, then choose Standard. Go to REMBUD and do the same. Then go back to Datasheet View and you will see that the format of the two fields are already standard. You can also change the name of the fields. Maybe you want to change the name of sum of amount to expenses. And to do that, we have to go back to Design View. Highlight sum of amount, then type in expenses, then colon. Right click, choose build. Go to query, choose query expense sum and double click sum of amount. Then delete EXP. Click OK. Go to Datasheet View. You will see that the name of the field is changed to expenses. Save this query. Click Save. Change the name of the query to QRY REMBUD. Then click OK.